Loves, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to make this ruched dress with a side cutout. So the side cutout also has a ruched part. So you can see it is open at the side, and I have a rope inside that side cutout. So you will need like 2 yards of fabric to achieve this. If you are making yours with a puffy sleeve, then you will need like 2.5 yards. I'm supposed to use a plain fabric for this, but I couldn't get it at the moment, so I used the one I have. So first of all, you will fold your fabric and you will cut a basic gown, just a basic gown. So first of all, you measure your shoulder, your armhole, you mark your bust point, the full length, the hip line, the half length. That's all. This dress will not have any darts. This basic dress will not have any darts. So my shoulder is 15.5 divided by 2 is 15 inches divided by 2 plus half an inch. Then from there I will mark my armhole, and my neckline is going to be 3 by 3, like 3 inches for the wideness and 3 inches for the depth. So I will mark the 3 by 3, then I will go ahead and connect. So after doing that, please remember to add your shoulder slant. I wanted to add a puffy sleeve to this dress, but at the end of the day I changed my mind. That's why I made mine without any sleeves. So I am currently marking my armhole. So after that I will mark my bust point, though not necessary, but you can mark your bust point. You can also mark your under bust if you want. Then you mark your half length. My half length is 17 inches. I will mark my 17 inches. Then you measure from your shoulder to your hip. From my shoulder to my hip is 27 inches. So I will mark the 27 inches and then the full length. The full length of this dress, I want it to be 35, but I made it 40 inches. You can make yours like 45 inches if you want the ruche to gather very well. So my full length, I want it to be around 34-35. I want it to be very short after dragging the rope. I don't know if you understand. So I will measure my bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Just add 1 inch seam allowance. I'm trying to remark everything with this colored chalk so that you guys can see what I am marking. So after that, you mark your bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Then leave the waist. Do not measure your waist. Do not mark your waist measurement. Leave the waist. Then you will measure your hip. Your hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. If you want it to be free, you can add 2 inches seam allowance to it. You can see I measured only my bust measurement and my hip measurement. Then I will mark my full length, and then I want to determine my half length. My half length is 17 inches. So you just connect a straight line from the bust measurement to the hip measurement. You can see that I did not take any measurement at the waist. Remember that. Then you connect the bust measurement to the hip measurement. Then from the hip measurements, you mark a straight line down. You don't need to give it that figure 8 shape. Just mark a straight line down to the full length, and that is all for this front. You can see I did not measure my waist circumference and I did not measure my knee circumference. So I'll go ahead and cut out this front. This front is just a basic free or straight gown. So this is what I have. So after cutting out the front, I will place it on the back and I will cut out. So after placing on the back, you will add your zipper allowance. If you don't want to add the zipper allowance, fine. You can just leave a small opening around the neckline where you can put your head through. So I placed the front on the back and I added just 1 inch for zipper allowance. So for the neck depth, the back is 1.5. Then I will go ahead and cut this back parts out. So I am done cutting out the sides, then I'll go ahead and open my zipper allowance, and that is all for this back part. So if you want to use a facing to turn the neckline, you are free to do that, but I used a bias strip to turn my neckline. I will use a bias strip for the neckline. So after cutting that, leave the side cutouts for now. Do not do anything to the side. We will still come to that. So this is the part that I want to use for my sleeve. I want to make an exaggerated sleeve for this dress, so I'll go ahead and cut out my sleeve, though at the end of the day I didn't use it. I'm doing this for the sake of the people that want to add a sleeve to their own. So my sleeve is ready. So after cutting out the sleeve, the next thing that you cut out is the pieces that you use for the rope. I don't know if you get, because this dress has a ruched part, 2 at the knee side and 2 at the waist side. So you go ahead and cut a very long pieces for your rope. It should be like 1.5 inches wide or 2 inches wide, depending on what you want. So I am done cutting that, and this is what I have. I will still join some so that it will belong. So here is the back part. I turned the back part with a bias strip. I have my bias at the right side and at the left side of the back. So for the front as well, I used a bias to turn the neckline. So I'll go ahead and close this zipper allowance with a loose stitch. Close it with a very loose stitch, because we still open it at the end of the day. So that is for the back. Here is the sleeve. I have added my elastic to my sleeve. I've added my elastic to my sleeve. So here are the ropes that I made, or here are the band, I don't know what you call it. So I have folded them, and this is what I have. I have 4 pieces here, 2 for the waist and 2 for the knee part. So I'll keep that aside for now. So here is the front part. You can see that I turned the front part with a bias. I did not add any dart to this. If you want to add a dart to it, fine, but I don't think it's necessary. So I'll go ahead and join the front and the back. You can see I closed the zipper allowance for the back. This is the zipper allowance, and I have joined the front and the back. Just use 1 inch and shape the front and the back. So after that, you go ahead and hem the down parts. That is if you want to hem the down parts now, but for me, I'll advise you to open it just a bit. Like you can see how I'm opening the zipper allowance around the hem area, like around the full length. Just open it up a bit, but do not open the full zipper allowance. So just go ahead and fold the down parts this way, then you run a stitch on it. Then I am done folding, and you can see what I have right here. I folded the down part. So right now I will turn this out, and I'll go ahead and iron this gown very well, like iron all the seam allowance at the side so that they will be very flat. So just go ahead and iron before doing your side cutout. Ironing it will make it very easy for you. So you can see I'll go ahead and iron. So I am done ironing, and this is what I have. So right now, this is the time for us to cut out our side. So what you will do is that from the shoulder, you will measure your under bust. Like from the shoulder, you place your tape on your shoulder, then you will mark your under bust. My under bust is 13. This side cutout will start at your under bust. Then from that 13 inches line you marked, You mark it on the right and mark it on the left. Then from that underbust line you marked, you will come down by 6 inches. If you want it to be very wide, you can use 7 inches or 8 inches depending on how wide you want yours to be. So but for me, I came down by 6 inches from my underbust line. You can see what I'm marking right there. Then for the wideness of this circle, I will come in by 2 inches from the side seam. You can see you place 2 inches at the side seam, then you will mark. Then from there you will connect to the underbust and to that area where you marked 6 inches. So if I cut this place out, you guys will see how it looks. So I'll also mark 2 inches from the side seam on the other side. Then I will mark my half circle. I'll mark my curve. So after marking this curve, you will go ahead and cut it out. I am done cutting this out. The next thing that we are going to do is to open up the zipper allowance. So after cutting this side, you can now go ahead and open your zipper allowance. You can trim your armhole now if you want to trim your armhole a bit. So after trimming, you will open your zipper allowance. So I have opened my zipper allowance and this is what I have. So opening the zipper allowance to make the turning of this side cutout easy, to make it very easy for you. So for me, I want to use a bias strip to turn this side part out. If you want to use your fabric in form of a facing, you can do that, but I want to use a bias to turn it out. So you run the bias on the right side of the fabric first of all. Then after that, you will turn it to the back part. So I will run that and I will come back and show you guys. So I am done running my bias strip on the right side of this fabric. This is the right side of this fabric. Then I'll go ahead and fold it in. This is the wrong part of the fabric. I'll go ahead and fold this in. I'll use it to turn this rough part. So using a bias is very easy. It is easier than using a facing. Cutting out a facing for this might be hard. So you just go ahead and turn it to the wrong side of the fabric. Then I'll do that and then I will come back and show you guys. So right now I am done turning the side cutout and you can see it is looking neat. So using a bias will actually make this easy for you. So the next thing that we are going to do is to open up the area where we will insert our rope from. Our drawstring or rope, it depends. So I'll go ahead and open it at the down part around the close to the hip side. I want it to be there, and I opened it from the right side of the fabric. So right now, using my safety pin, I will insert my drawstring. I will insert it to this side and then I will insert to the other side as well. So after inserting it, you go ahead and draw. So I am done inserting the first one. I'll also go ahead and insert the other one. So you can see what we have there. If you drag it, it will gather that fabric around the waist area. So I am also done fixing the drawstring of the other side, and that is all for this side cutout. So the next thing that we'll do is to insert our drawstring to the hip area. You know, this dress has a ruched part around the full length, so you will cut out, let's say, a 2 inches wide fabric, a 2 inches wide pieces. Then you will turn the wrong side of this fabric. So this is the wrong side of the fabric. Then you will go ahead and place that pieces on top of it. So these pieces will start around the hip line. It will start around the hip line, then down to the full length. So you go ahead and stitch it on the both sides. Then you will run another stitch at the inside. You will leave the upper part open, and you will leave the lower part of these pieces open, because that is where you will insert your drawstring from. So I'll also repeat the same thing on the other side. So you run a stitch on the two sides of this fabric, then you run another one at the center. So I am done doing that. So let me show you guys what it looks like. If I bring it closer to the camera, you can see I have 3 lines there. Let me turn the right side of the fabric so that you can see. So you can see I have 3 lines, 2 at the sides, 1 at the center. So each drawstring will have its channel. So I'll use my safety pin, and then I'll go ahead and insert my drawstring inside the both of them. So if you insert the first one, you will go ahead and secure it with a pin so that it will not slip out when you are fixing the second one. So after inserting the first one, I will bring it out from the top, from that space that I left at the top. Then I'll pin it down with a pin. Then I'll also go ahead and insert the other one. So after inserting the both of them, you will go ahead and run a stitch on them so that they will not slip out. So after doing that, you will just go ahead and draw the both of the drawstrings, and you have your ruche. So this is the 2 of them. They are out at the upper part. I'll just go ahead and run a stitch on them. So I am done inserting the both of them, and this is what we have. So if I should draw it, it will gather around the full length, and that is it for this dress. This dress is very simple. So if you want to add a sleeve to yours, fine. So for the zipper part, you know, this type of dress, after drawing the string, it might be bulging at the back. So what I did is that I folded the 2 zipper allowance, like the zipper allowance, they are facing each other right now. So I will go ahead and take the waistline in by like 2 or 3 inches. You can see I'm cutting let's say 3 inches or 2 inches from the waistline. Then I'll go ahead and fix my zipper and then close the remaining part of this dress, and that is all. So at the end of the day, this is what we have. I hope our dress is beautiful. So guys, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. See you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.